שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יאללה ליי לה 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 לה, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יאללה ליי לה 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 לה, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יאללה ליי לה 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 לה, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יאללה ליי לה 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 לה, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת 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 שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת 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 שלום, שבת 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 שלום, שבת 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 שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת 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 שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת 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 שלום.
Shalom, everybody. For those of you area, and except I'm probably 15 feet to the closest person right now. When the family comes up, they're going to be completely separated from everybody. They're going to have an opportunity to take off their masks only then. You're going to see that. We are following all of the CDC requirements. If you're not here in California as well, you'll just know we're one of those hot spots, unfortunately. So we can't even hold services indoors. That would have been our first choice. But it's a delightful, comfortable Southern California day, about 129 degrees. And we're just going to celebrate this wonderful occasion. The Mincha service, every day we have a Mincha service. We have a Shachrit morning, Mincha afternoon, tomorrow evening. And on Shabbat, at the Mincha service is when we read Torah. And that, Joshua, is why we can have your bar mitzvah, is because we have the Torah that's going to be taken out in a moment. And Joshua, I'm going to have you make your way around because you're going to be starting Ashrei in just a moment. But I'm explaining to people that in the mornings we afternoon, only in the morning. And anybody else, though, who's involved in the Torah service up here in front, they'll be wearing a talit. Joshua's going to get his momentarily from his parents, as they're going to share with him. So I'm going to put this on. And then I want you to know that we are using what is the Siddur Lev Shalem. And it's available actually on our website through the generosity of the Rabbinical Assembly. It can be downloaded. You can find it if you haven't already. You can use any prayer book. That's the great thing about the Jewish people. Whether you are in Iran, whether you are in Israel, whether you are in Southern California, the same prayers. And so you can follow through any Siddur. That's the really the beauty of being a part of the Jewish people, universal. So in our prayer book on page 214, our bar mitzvah, Joshua is going to lead us in the Ashrei, right? Page 214. Joshua, go ahead. You're going to take off the one you're up there. Yes.
Ashrei yoshvei veitecha, od yahalelucha selah.
Ashrei am shekacha loho, Ashrei am sharonai Eloham.
Tehillah leDavid, aromimcha Elohai hamelech, v'avarcha shimcha le'olam va'ed.
B'chol yom avarcheka, v'halala shimcha le'olam va'ed.
Gadol Adonai umpulal me'od, v'ligdulato ein cheker.
Dor ledor shabach ma'asecha, uvrotecha yagidu.
Hadar kivod hodecha, v'divrei niflotecha asicha.
Ve'zuznotecha yomeru, uvlecha asaprena.
Zecher rav tuvecha yabiru, v'tzidkatecha yiraninu.
Va'nun rachum Adonai, erech apayim ugdal chesed.
Tov Adonai lakol, v'rachamav al kol ma'asav.
Yoduch Adonai kol ma'asecha, v'chasidecha yevarchucha.
Kevod malchutecha yomeru, ugviratecha yedaberu.
Lehodil ibnei adam gurotaha, v'chvod adar malchuto.
Malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umamshaltecha bechol dor v'dor.
Somech Adonai lechol hanoflim, v'zokef lechol hakfufim.
Einecho elecha yesaberu, ve'ata noten lachem et ochlam be'ito.
Poteach et yadecha, u'mazbil lechol chai v'atzon.
Tzadik Adonai bechol derachav, ve'chasid bechol ma'asav.
Karov Adonai lechol korahav, lechol asher kirhu ve'emet.
Ritzon yireyav ya'aseh, ve'et shavatam yishma ve'yoshiem.
Shomer Adonai kol avaha, ve'kol hashayim yashmid.
Tehillat Adonai yedaber pi, vivarech kol baser shem kodsho le'olam va'ed. Va'anachnu nevarech ya, me'ata ve'ad olam. Hallelujah.
Going to continue Yasher Koach, Joshua. Going to continue now, page 217 with the Hatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש ברבה, ועמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחיי כל ביום ובכל ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קרים ואמרו אמן. יהי שמירה במבורך לעלם לעל בעולמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה ברכו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן.
If we were inside the sanctuary and we had everything we could, we would officially be taking a Torah out of the ark and we'd be walking it around as we used to. Who knows what that will look like after the pandemic, even in terms of walking around the Torah and everybody kissing it and if you will, climbing over each other to get to it. What the new world will know, who knows at this time. So but we do want to acknowledge the Torah. It's already been taken out and it's on the table, so nobody's been handling it as well. And as an acknowledgement of the beginning of our Torah service, Chazan says and lead us, Al Shlosha Devarim Ha'olam Omed, on three things does the Torah stand: on Torah, on Avodah, worship, Gemilut Chasadim, acts of loving kindness. Chazan style.
Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim Ha'olam Omed, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim Ha'olam Omed, Al HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim, Al HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim Ha'olam Omed.
Just a moment, Joshua's going to be reading from this portion of Ekev, and he's going to be sharing some of his thoughts. But I just want to put in the context for everybody here, those of you who are sitting here with me as well. By the way, if you want, you can get your Chumash, the Torah reading text, be able to follow there if you want. For those of you who are at home, if you have the prayer book, the Chumash, a Torah text, you can find it. It's the portion of Ekev, and it is Deuteronomy chapter 7, beginning verse 12. That's where the Torah readings begin. But I want you to understand that this is, and I think you know this for sure, Joshua, that this portion is part of the sharing of Moses as the Israelites are about to go into the land. 7 days before he's about to pass away. Did you know that? It's just a week before. That's all he has left. And he's sharing with the new generation of Israelites who are about to go into the land. That's really what's happening. And so he's going to remind them of all the things that took place. So it becomes their story. But it's interesting how often he reminds them about all the bad things that their parents and grandparents did. Isn't it interesting? You know this. How often do you remind somebody of something bad that they did? You ever do it to kids? Right? Right? Parents do it all the time. Right? Do you remember when and nobody, I don't think any child, Joshua, likes when a parent begins like that, right? It usually doesn't go well. It's a funny thing. Right? Often we think, let's share all the good things, and they do say that as well. But then we get that little bit of embarrassment. And the question is, why are you reminding them about the past? Right? Is it to make them laugh? Is it to embarrass them? Or is it to remind them that they need to learn something from the past? See, that's when you're a good parent and a good grandparent. That's when you remind them of the past where it makes sense for them to remember that lesson. Right? Remember what happened and how you learned and how to be a better person, or what happens when you hurt people. And it's not designed to make that person feel bad or to embarrass them or to do anything else, but rather it simply is to let them remember the moment so that they can be better. So that's what Moses is doing, and that's how I understand it. Moses is reminding the Israelites of all the challenges that their parents and grandparents faced, and he's reminding them the times that they came up short, the times that they failed, to remind them this is how you make mistakes, and don't follow the ways of your parents and grandparents. Follow the good examples that they have. And that's part of this portion of Ekev. In the meantime, right now, I'm going to call up Lisa. All right, going to come up here in Paiman. You're going to join your son, Joshua. Joshua, you can take off your mask up there. Your parents are going to join you, and they're going to share with you some words of joy. Move the microphone in front of you, all right? And you have your papers there, and they're going to share to Joshua all the words they want you to feel at this moment. And I want you to be able to look at them. And this is a moment, Joshua, that you don't respond, you don't answer, you don't have to argue. You just look at them and you take in their loving words. So, Lisa and Paiman, go ahead.
My dear Joshua, my firstborn, my prince, Mazel Tov on becoming a bar mitzvah. I am so proud of all the dedication and hard work you put into preparing for today and the handsome, intelligent, and compassionate young man you have become. This is a big milestone for you. However, this ceremony does not represent the end of your Jewish studies. On the contrary, this marks your commitment to a lifetime of dedication to the Jewish faith and to the Jewish people. Just as studying for your bar mitzvah was not an easy task, being a Jew and accomplishing your goals in life is not always an easy task. But just as you persisted in your studies for today, I want you to persist in your commitment to Judaism and achieving your life goals. Don't give up and always believe in yourself. It is through faith and hard work that you will find fulfillment and happiness. We are a people with thousands of years of history, and we have persevered through all of it because our ancestors never forgot who they are, and they kept their commitment to the Torah, to mitzvot, and to honoring Hashem. Our traditions have been handed down generation to generation, and you are the next link in this chain. I want you to take this responsibility seriously and cherish this rich inheritance. In your parsha, Moses reminds the Jewish people that if they obey God's commandments, God will bless and protect the Jewish people, and that the land of Israel will belong to the Jewish people. God has honored the covenant he has made with the Jewish people. I see modern day Israel as the fulfillment of this promise. Jews that were exiled all over the world have been brought back together in their ancient homeland. We must never take Israel for granted. It is our job as Jews to protect and defend Israel, the Jewish homeland. The safety of Jews all over the world depends on the safety of Israel. I hope you will always take pride in your Jewish identity and take advantage of all the wisdom that it has to offer. Always continue to read, take classes, volunteer, and donate to Jewish and Israeli causes with the goal of tikkun olam, repairing the world. I'd like to thank the entire Temple Aliyah clergy, the staff and the teachers for all the efforts that they've put in the last 10 years into preparing you for today, for providing you with a Jewish education, helping shape your identity, and providing us with a wonderful community. I'd also like to thank our wonderful families for their endless love and support. We are grateful. Joshua, may God bless you always and grant you a long, healthy, meaningful, and fulfilling life. I love you more and always will continue to do so no matter what.
Give her a hug. Go ahead, give her a hug.
Dear Joshua, you're passing a threshold into young adulthood in a time of adversity. While I wished with all my being that you would be celebrating this day with your heart light and free of care, levitating with joy, we are forced to reckon with realities. You are not the first, nor will be the last Jewish boy who's gone to the Torah and put on tefillin when all was not right with the world, when all your friends and family could not be around you, when celebrations were not possible. As you stand here, you should remember the boys and girls that were bar or bat mitzvahed in secret, in a basement or an attic, in a bomb shelter, when there was not enough to eat, never mind not enough for a feast. It is right that our situation, though much better than theirs, has forced us to remember those children today. And to remember that true strength of character comes not from pretending to live in an alternate reality that doesn't exist, but facing the world with all its difficulties with honesty, optimism, and a heart full of hope for better days. Joshua, you are full of kindness and compassion, and you are barely aware of it. You have a deep sense of justice and of right and wrong. You do not shirk your responsibilities. You are creative, but you keep it all to yourself. As you grow older, share your accomplishments with the world and let others share in your joy. As you grow older, continue to be kind not only to others, but to yourself as well. Have the heart to forgive others, but also forgive yourself for mistakes that you will make, as we all make them. As any neuroscientist will tell you, without mistakes, there's no learning. While I wish you all the success in the world, Know that spiritual and intellectual growth only happens after failure, though it may not seem like it at the time. Do not forget the deep Jewish traditions and faith that have enriched the lives of our people these thousands of years. May their stories, struggles, and triumphs in the ancient and modern world be your inspiration as you go forward. Be tolerant of all faiths and people as you are now. Be wary of people that seek to sow division. Do not forget our traditions of Tikkun Olam to heal the world, to ease the suffering of all people when possible, to be a force for good in the world. Your parents came to this country so that you could be free to be who you are, practice your religion, have your own beliefs, and to be able to speak freely. Do not take these freedoms for granted. Continue to stand up for what is right, to protect the weak and give a helping hand to those who need it. Do not forget that you are part of a large community, a large family who will love and support you as you will support them. I am so proud of all you have become and all that you will become. Your mother and father love you deeply. Your dad.
Give me that hug. You have Talit, Lisa, here. As Lisa gets the Talit to be able to present to her son. Beautiful present in the occasion of Bar Mitzvah. The hope is always that you will feel connected. We're going to figure out which Talit is which. Yeah, just have to go take it and then recite, turn towards the microphone. And recite the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu v'chitatef b'tzitzi.
Amen. Go ahead. That's it.
Amen.
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 Turn it the other way. As Einstein will officially call the parents up for their Aliyah.
יעמדו אברהם בן יצחק ורבקה ואסתר בת מרדכי ושרה ראשון.
Amen. Take the over here. Yep. Let your parents take your talit, touch it, kiss it.
Shall we begin? Okay. Here we go. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
V'haya ekev tishme'un et hamishpatim ha'ele ushmartem va'asitem otam v'shamar Adonai Elohecha lecha et haberit ve'et hachesed asher nishba la'avotecha va'ahevecha Uverachecha v'hirbecha, uverach privitnecha, ufri admatecha, deganecha v'tiroshecha v'yitarecha, shigar alafecha v'ashterot sonecha, ahadama, asher nishba la'avotecha, la'tet lach. Baruch tiyeh mikol ha'amim, lo yiyevecha, akar va'akara, uvivhem techa, v'heisir Adonai, mimecha choli v'chomad Mitzrayim hara'im asher yadata, lo yisimam bach, untanam b'chol sone'echa ve'achalta את כל העמים
Dear Adonai,
אשר
Adonai Elohecha,
אדוני אלוהיך
notei lecha.
נותן לך, לא תחוס עיניך עליהם, ולא תעבוד את אלוהיכם, כי מוקשו לך.
Go ahead. Let you get Aliyah. And then you recite the second blessing.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נותב בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. You give him a hug. Go ahead. We're going to call forward to ask the grandparents. We're going to step forward. You won't see them at home on your screen because they're going to be at the microphones out here and other relatives that they're going to recite the blessing. Hazan Stein, you're officially going to call them forward, please.
יעמדו, יעמדו, יצחק בן ישראל ושרה, ושרה בת נפתלי ורבקה, ומרדכי בן עובדיה, ושרה בת יחזקאל, ורבקה שני.
Making their way to the microphone, they will recite the blessing. All right, those of you reciting, ready, here you go. Together, 1, 2, 3. Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Va'ed.
כי תאמר בלבבך רבים הגויים האלה ממני, איך אוכל להורישם, לא תירא מהם, זכור תזכור את אשר עשה אדוני אלוהיך לפרעה ולכל מצרים, המעשות הגדולות אשר ראו עיניך, והאותות והמופתים, והיד החזקה, והזרוע הנטויה, אשר הוציאך אדוני אלוהיך, כן יעשה אדוני אלוהיך לכל העמים אשר אתה ירד מפניהם, וגם את הצירה ישלח אדוני אלוהיך בם עד אבוד הנשארים והנסתרים מפניך, לא תרוץ מפניהם, כי אדוני אלוהיך בקרבך, אל גדול ונורא.
Hazan Stein, you're going to call forward officially our bar mitzvah.
הבחור הבר מצווה יעמוד, יעמוד, יהושע בן אברהם ואסתר שלישי, חזק, חזק.
This week's Parsha, Ekev, is about thanking God and obeying his rules. Moses reminds the people of Israel that if they follow God's rules, then God will grant them protection and destroy any other nations that will pose a threat to them. Adonai promises food, a fertile homeland, and health to the people of Israel. However, he states that if the Israelites do not follow his rules,
then he will punish them. In this parsha, Moses reminds the people of Israel of the covenant God has made with the forefathers of the Jewish people, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He reminds them to not forget Adonai's great power and always thank him for what he has done for the Israelites. He reminds them Adonai had brought the Jewish people to the promised land because of the wickedness of the other nations. He urges the Jewish people to not forget of the miracles that Adonai had performed for them. How wonderful is it that the promise God made to give the people of Israel a homeland thousands of years ago is now a reality in the state of Israel today. The land of Israel is a refuge for all the Jews who fled and continue to flee oppression and anti-Semitism. With God's blessing, the people of Israel have made their country into a prosperous nation, just as envisioned by Moses in this parsha. Very soon, I too hope to visit the land of Israel for the first time. I look forward to traveling there to see the materialization of Adonai's promises. My parents have shared with me about the beauty of Israel and how their travels to Israel have given them a great connection with our ancestral homeland. In the parsha, the people of Israel could not have achieved all that they were to achieve without leadership and guidance. By becoming a bar mitzvah, I feel that I too am becoming more of a leader and less of a follower. Leadership requires the leader to listen to the people who follow them. It requires decision-making and accepting responsibility. Every day, with the guidance of my family, teachers, and rabbis, I hope to become a better leader for my community. Thank you.
Mr. Cook, very nice. That's what you say. Joshua's going to get ready to do the blessings over the Torah and then to do the reading. He'll continue the reading a little bit further in the Torah text. Actually, he's going to continue with chapter 8, verse 4. Chapter 8, verse 4 of Deuteronomy. Going to begin, Joshua, with the blessings over the Torah. Do you have them there?
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Simlatecha lo valetame alecha veraglecha lo vatseka ze arba'im shana veyadata im levavecha ki ka'asher yeyaser ish et beno Adonai Elohecha meyasereka v'shamarta et mitzvot Adonai Elohecha lalechet bidrachav u'yira'oto ki Adonai Elohecha meviacha el eretz tova Eretz Nachalimayim Ayanot Utomot Yotzim Babika Uvahar Eretz Chita Usora V'gefen Utenav Verimon Eretz Shemen Udavash Eretz Asher Lo V'miskinut Tochal Ba'alechem Lo techsarko ba eretz asher avanecha varzel umehararecha tachzov nechoshet v'achalta v'savata uvirachta et Adonai Elohecha al haaretz hatova asher natan lach. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Mazel
Go
tov.
ahead. Oh, there you go.
Mazel tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, Siman tov, Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, Siman tov. Yehilanu, Ulecha Yisrael. Yehilanu, Ulecha Yisrael. David Melech Yisrael, David Melech Yisrael, Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, Siman tov, Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, Siman tov, Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, Siman tov, Yehilanu.
Let's hear it. As we say, I've learned a long time ago, Emruz Rose Basir Gashengahast. That's for your Persian family. It means today is a wonderful day, and it really is. I'm sorry that I can't be closer to you and that we have to wear masks when I get this close. But I want you to know that how proud I am of you. Remember, we talked about how you're going to have those stories now, like your grandparents did about leaving Iran, right? And what it meant to persevere against the forces of oppression. And I told you, right, that when you have your own children and grandchildren, you'll be able to say, remember the pandemic of 2020? And I was out there as a bar mitzvah. And you persevered. And there was questions about whether to go ahead or not. Hey, is it exactly what you wanted? Exactly what your family wanted? We can't, the lesson your parents want to give you and to share with you is that we can't predict the future. We can only know the present. And we have to be able to work with that, be able to create the best life we can. That's what they want. I know your mom well. I know your dad. And they want you always to live with the sense of appreciation. The final words that you read in the Torah portion, the halta, the savata, uveirachta. Do you know that that's from the rabbis, that they derive that that's where we get birkat hamazon, the blessing after the meal? Do you know that? And it goes like this. It says, ve'achalta, when you eat. What's the next word you remember? Visavata. When you are sated, when you are full, what's the next word? Uveirachta, right. You shall bless. From that, the rabbis say, when you've eaten and you're full, that's when you give blessing. That's birkat hamazon. But it's also a very important message of life. That always have a sense of gratitude. To be able, when you have what you need in life, and we're learning now, aren't we, Joshua, that we don't need so much in life. We've learned that there's some basic components of how we live. So I want to offer you a blessing, and Lisa and Clement, join with me behind him. I can't hold him, I can't touch him, so you're going to be the conduit of this blessing. What? Just the two of you, go ahead. We'll have the boys come up later. All right, I just want you to pretend these hands are mine that are now on you. All right, put them on his shoulder and put them on you too. All right. This blessing has been given for thousands of years, probably about 3,000 years, Joshua. It's in the book of Numbers, it's the priestly blessing. But here it goes like this. May God bless you and keep you, Joshua. May you always have God's inspiration in your heart to make a difference in this world. May you strive always to bring goodness, and when you do that, to help bring peace. And we all say, Amen. All right, give him a kiss for me, will you? Okay, go ahead. And Hazan Stein, you're going to continue with this, was the Hatzi Kaddish. Sorry, to tell you what, you're going to do Eitz Chaim here. How about that? We're going to signify the end of the Torah service officially. Eitz Chaim here. Here we go.
Eitz Chaim hi למחזיקים בה בתוכך מאושר בדרכיה דרכי נוח בכל נתיבותיה שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה קדש ימינו כקדם.
Now it'll be the Chasi Kaddish, page 222.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה ועמד יברח ילותי וימליך מלכותי וחיי כל יום בכל וחיי דכל בית ישראל בהגנה ובזמן קריב במרום יש מרבם מבורך לאדם לעלמי המיה יתברך וישתבח ויתבר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מכל מחתה בשירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה יאמירן ויעלמה ואמרו Amen.
Rise now for the Amidah. Joshua, you're going to lead us. I'm going to have you face towards the ark. Move that microphone around so you can lead us. Page 223 begins with the Amidah. Move the microphone so we can get it close to you, Joshua.
Magen Avraham Elohei Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah El Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanara El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Chakol V'Zocher Hasdei Avon L'Ma'at Shmo V'Zer Yishokei V'Motzat Magen Magen Avraham V'Chokit Sarah Atagi bor le'olam Adonai Mechayei meitim ata V'lechoshia morid hata Mechokel chayim b'chesed Mechayei meitim b'rachamim rabim Tomech lofim v'rofei cholim Umatir asurim Mechayei emunato Yishenei yonfar Mechamocha ba'adirut Umigdol melach Melach mimit Mechayei Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman etalach achilut Adonai Mechayei hametim
לקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, כך כתוב ביד נביאך, וקורא זה אל זה ואמר.
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלך הארץ כבודו.
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלך הארץ כבודו, ליומתם ברוך יאמרו.
ואדוני ממקומו.
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו, ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור.
מלך הלילה מלכי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה.
ימלוך אדוני לעולם, מלכי ציון לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Amidah, continue silently. Hebrew or English, if you prefer the private meditations of your heart. Azan style will give us a little bit of inspirational music as we continue with our prayers.
Shalom bimroma, Uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, amen. Ya'ase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'ase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'ase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'ase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
130 Kaddish Shalem.
יגדל ויגדל שמי רבה, ועמד דברי חילותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעלם לעלמי המניה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתמם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלב ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תשבחתה ונחמתה תמירון בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותו נבואתו לכל בית ישראל קדום ובהודי שמיה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה וחי בלינו כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן.
Thank you for Elena, page 231.
עלינו לשבח לדור הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הארצות ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם בגורלנו ככוכבונה, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ועושה לארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים מעל, ושכינתו זו מגוהי דרומי, אלוהינו אלינו, אמת פנינו אפס שמלתו, דעתנו בתורתו, וידעת היום באשרותה, בשמיים ממעל והארץ הארץ מתחתינו, דרכי נקבל לך הכתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
At the end of our service, those of you who are out on live streaming, if you've been given, if you have a Zoom link, you can click on that now, and you're going to join us in just a moment, and then we'll make sure we're on speaker right now view, and so we can welcome everybody else into Zoom in just a moment, because this is a moment of sanctification and memory. This is the Mourner's Kaddish. We think about the generations that came before us, those who have given us life and love, for whom we are here because of them this day. And so we bring to mind, whether you have your site, this is the anniversary of reciting of the Kaddish for the loss of a loved one, or if you're in a period of mourning, these are the words that you recite as we join together. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabba, amen. Be'alma divrach derutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei v'chol beit Yisrael, v'galav izman kariv v'meru, amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach le'olam umei umaya. Yitbarach, yishtabach, yipa'ar, v'tomam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, yitalev y'italal shmei v'kudesha v'yichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushvechata v'nechamata, v'miran v'alma v'meru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'meru, amen. V'oseh shalom b'mamav, v'hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'meru, amen. Right. I'm gonna put your mask on just for a moment, because I'm gonna come over there for just a second. And over there, I just have a couple of gifts for you. Just want to make sure you get. I know your parents will like this one, Israel Matters. All right, it's a wonderful book. We want you to read it. There's a gift from the Federation as well, called the Teen Initiative, and it has great socks and sunglasses, so you can be a cool bar mitzvah. And we have a gift from the synagogue, from women of Aliyah and Men's Club. It's a Kiddush cup as well. We also have a certificate for you, which we'll get to you eventually, right? Which a mitzvah certificate, a scholarship for our youth department, and of course, a tree has been planted in Israel. And God willing, you're going to get there soon and be able to. In the meantime, I'm going to invite your family to come up here. All right, Aaron and Jonah, come on up here as well. All right. And they're all coming in by Zoom now. Take a look on the screen there. You see them joining in? This is what we call a Shechianu moment. So I'm going to have you stand there in front of the Torah, face the camera so they can all see you. Put your arms around each other. Everybody who's here, stand up, please, if you will. If you're in a family unit, you can put your arms around somebody. If not, you just imagine, just feel it. And Shechianu, a blessing of sanctification. You can take your mass up there right now if you want. Those of you who are in front of the Torah together. And let's join together. Shechianu. Here we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Everybody. Joshua!
Mazel tov! Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, Yehelanu, 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 Ulecha Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, David melech Yisrael, Taikaya. David melech Yisrael, Taikaya. Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov. Simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov. Simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov. Simen tov, yeah.
Mazel tov.